StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you, bringing you the very first StarCraft Brood War upload to this channel. This is Flash versus Bisu on Andromeda. In the top left side of the map, we have the orange Terran player, it is Flash. And in the bottom right side of this map, we have the red Protoss player, it is Bisu. So Bisu versus Flash for you here today in StarCraft Brood War. Man, this takes me back. This takes me back. I was a huge Warcraft 2 player back when I was a teenager. I want to say I was about 13 or 14 when I was playing that. But when StarCraft came out, my friends and I bought it. And I did not look back at Warcraft. Let's see, we're going to turn this down just a little bit here. There we go. I didn't look back at Warcraft after that. StarCraft for me all the way. All the way. The first time I saw an Archon, I pretty much peed my pants because it was so incredibly amazing. Alright, so I downloaded this off of battle.net. You can do that. You can download these old games. Got Warcraft 3. I've got, what else do I have off that? Frozen Throne, Reign of Chaos. There's another game that I got as well. An older one. Can't remember what it was, but anyway, now I've got StarCraft and Brood War. I'm very excited about that. This game was played as part of a tournament in Grand Finals back in June. I don't remember exactly which tournament it was, but you know what? Who cares? It's Flash, it's Bisu. I'm sure both of these players have their fans on the channel. Both players have people who love them. I'm going to look at mouse sensitivity real quick here too. It's just, I don't know, it's so fast. That better? That's actually a lot better. Let's roll with that. Sorry for the settings tweaking. This is my first cast with Brood War, so I want to make sure everything looks good. Either way, we do have an SCV scouting out here, and look how big everything is. You can't zoom out. There is no zoom option here, unfortunately. Throwing down a Nexus at his expansion, and a barracks with a supply depot here as well. Man, everything looks so flat. I do not remember StarCraft looking this flat when I used to play it back in the day, but I mean, these graphics were incredible for 97, or whenever this game came out. I'm sure some of you were not born in 1997, and you're watching this and thinking, man, Falcon, you're old. I know I'm old, but this is your roots, whippersnappers. If you like StarCraft 2, this is where it came from. This came from StarCraft 1 and Brood War. Brood War being, I don't know, probably the very first... Is it the first esport game of all time? I want to say it was very hugely popular. For sure, for a long time. And I mean, this is the first esport game that I ever watched. This is the first game that I ever saw professional players play. I ever knew there were professional players at video games, and this was it. I used to watch these before StarCraft 2 came out, and had a great time doing it. So hopefully we can have a good time with this as well. Again, the early game's a little bit slower, just because you start out with, I think, 5 workers. So StarCraft Brood War is a lot more APM intensive, which means your SCVs come out, they don't automatically rally to the minerals. Oh no. No, they do not. They sit here. You have to come back and manually grab them and throw them onto the mineral patches as they pop. I wonder if we can see this from Flash. Pops. See how he's just sitting there? Bam. Bam. Flash on top of that, as per usual. Cybernetics Core coming up. You'll notice a lot of these terms are the same. Gateway, Cybernetics Core, Nexus, Barracks, Supply Depot. I mean, a lot of the basic stuff is the same, especially for Protoss and Terran. But I mean, there's still spawning pools for Zerg and Lurkers and all that. So we'll see what strategies are popular. I am not familiar with the current meta for Brood War, which again is still being played. Still being played, you guys. Like 20 years after it came out. I mean, that is the longevity of this game. So double gate opening here, getting Dragoons. Ah, Dragoons are good. They're kind of like Stalkers, but they're dumber. That was a cancel. Cancel Dragoon there. Going for, that's range. That is range for the Dragoons. Everybody gets this. I mean, for sure, that's what you want. There's no warp in, so no Cybernetics Core. Warp Gate research available at all for Protoss. A factory coming up for Flash. And yeah, both these players just harvesting, working on that mineral count as best they can. There's only 1 Vespene Geyser per base instead of 2. So that means that the units are a little bit less gas intensive. You don't have to use as many workers on gas as you do in Legacy of the Void or, you know, StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. Either way, SCV here. Both players are scouting around quite a bit, trying to see if there are any ninja expansions being taken or the like. Dragoon is here, trying to knock down this power generator, which does... I wonder if that leads to a base or something. Can't see. Cannot see. But there's a critter, a Rhinodon. Look at that thing. I have no idea what this little animation is supposed to be, but that's apparently a Rhinodon. Dragoons are here. You can see close-ups of their faces. There's an Ursidon. I believe Ursidons exist in Legacy of the Void, right? And you can take the space in the middle if you want, but it's very dangerous. It is very dangerous, in fact, to do. Has there been any attacking at all? Yes. There we go. Some Dragoons taking out an SCV. This is hard to keep track of the action when it's so zoomed in like this. Is there a zoom out option maybe for Brood War that people have made? At least for replay watching, I don't know. There's a single Marine in this bunker. It's enough to hit the Dragoon. And Dragoon, I don't know if you should worry about this, Dragoon. Dragoons are mostly known for their poor pathing. If you tell them to go across the map, they'll get stuck somewhere more often than not. More and more Dragoons moving across the map here. This is a Dragoon push out of Bisu. No production tab, you'll notice. Can't really tell that. Can't tell a worker count either. I just get total supply count. 41 to 46 right now. Protoss player is up at this point. Dragoon knocking down this power generator. I really want to know what's up here. It's a mystery, you guys. It's a total mystery. What is going on? Third command center being landed. Is that a third? That is a third for Flash. Looking good. Landing it there. Building a refinery at the same time. I heard a tank. I heard a tank. There it is. There's our siege tank. Oh, so nice. So Marine tank, I mean, this is something you'd see in StarCraft 2 today. So not too much variation for Flash at this point. A lot of Dragoons. Basically a stalker push, if you want to say, from Bisu. You have all three upgrades here. Armor, plasma shields, and phase disruptors. Basically just attack. Forges upgrade those as well. Engineering bays upgrade. Can this guy go into siege right off the bat? I don't remember. I think he can. I don't think. Do you have to research siege on this machine shop? Maybe you do. Maybe you have to research it. I feel like these would be in siege if it was available. So we'll try to pay attention to that. Supply depots are a lot bigger, so they're easier to use as walls than supply depots today are. There's that ComSat. That was a scan that was being used here. ComSat station is just the orbital command scan function. Third Nexus here as well for Bisu. So both players are just kind of macroing up at this point, about 7 minutes into the game. Again, it starts slower. StarCraft 2 Brood War has a much slower early game than StarCraft 2. And a shuttle's out. Oh, shuttles. Shuttles play a big part in StarCraft Brood War. Look at that, picking up. There's the Reaver too. I didn't see the Reaver come out. That's because there's not a production tab. This is hard. That came out of this guy right here, the robotics facility. All right, so Reavers are kind of like disruptors. If you want an analogy, they just shoot out scarabs that explode, doing splash damage on your opponents. They do cost money though. It costs I think 10 or 25 minerals to replenish each scarab. So it's just kind of a way to offset the cost, and just because they are super good is how it works. Here comes the attempt to drop. Look at the range on that missile turret, though. Whoa! Whoa! That is some range. And that's something Flash was ready for, man. Flash knows where to place these missile turrets to make sure these drops don't happen. Engineering bay flying around. Does Flash not need upgrades? Are you not upgrading your stuff, Flash? I don't know. I don't know. Getting the upgrade for, not Hellbats, Goliaths, though. Here they are. Oh, Goliaths are good. Goliaths are good. Look at that shot, though, from the Reaver. Bam. One Dragoon dies. One Goliath dies as well. And that is a, what is this thing? A Bengalas. Basically a half Panther, half Tiger thing that Blizzard is interested in. Heard those tanks. Those tanks did go into siege just a second ago, didn't they? Promise. Tell me they did. Another expansion down here from Bisu. We've got another shuttle flying on up here, and yeah, I mean, it looks like pretty much mech. It's going to be Goliath. As the Reaver does get a kill, I think on an SCV. There we go. Siege mode, siege mode, siege mode. With a few Marines mixed in, and then just Goliath production from this point on. +1 has been completed on the attack for these mech units. The Dragoon count is fairly high. I wish I could tell. Can they get rid of that Observer? They do. They take out the Observer. Goliath gets the kill. 2 kills to his name. Looking pretty awesome with his goggles and this stuff going over his bald head. Like that. Very exciting things indeed. And yes, expanding down here is Flash. So a bit of a ninja expand. A little bit trying to hide it from Bisu. I'm not sure that Bisu knows that it's there. Can I even tell? I think I can. I think I can. If I get rid of Flash's vision, no. Get rid of Bisu's vision. No, that doesn't work. I can do that, though. That's good. We're going to reveal the entire map. All right. That's a little bit easier than using Fog of War here. All right, so got rid of the cooling towers to... okay. So the Terran player would try to drop tanks up here and assault this, and it'd be difficult to get to if these cooling towers were in the way. So that's exactly why Bisu got rid of those. That makes a ton of sense. Tank count looking fairly good. Fairly good for our friend Flash. And yeah, just Dragoons patrolling back and forth. Again, that's a bit of a dangerous... It's a Kakaru. Bit of a dangerous situation patrolling Dragoons back and forth because they will get stuck, as I've said more than once. Their pathing was just bad. It was just really, really bad. Vultures mixed in here too. Again, look how viable Mech is in Brood War, you guys. Super viable. Super viable. Reaver hit. Bam. Does take down a Vulture. This is exactly what you need. The Reavers are slow as poo. Slow as crap, but shuttles are fast, as you can see. So that's why that combination of shuttle and Reaver has been one that's been around for years and years. Even back before Brood War came out, that was a staple of Protoss strategy, was this Reaver drop stuff. And sometimes we would see Protoss players win the game in the first 5 minutes because they just Reaver dropped their opponent into oblivion. And the micro was so good, the Reaver would have like 28 kills, and that'd be the game. I mean, that's how this worked back in the day. Missile turret tanks on top of Dragoons, just doing so much work. Pushing on in, though. The Zealots getting on top of the tanks. The spread is pretty good. Whoa. Gotta stop doing that. Gotta stop doing that. Tanks are going down. Bisu is going to start pushing. Reaver needs to get a shot off, and he does. He gets a shot off, taking down a tank. Another attack up here. Zealots trying to get rid of these tanks, but tanks not in siege mode do fairly well against Zealots, as you can see, but forcing into full evacuation here by Flash. Getting rid of missile turrets, killing SCVs. These Zealots are mean. Zealots are so mean against Terrans. Usually you want to have fire bats to deal with these, but I don't see any sign of that. Just really going straight up mech. Vultures are also good. They're also pretty good against these Zealots. There's an Arbiter out. Okay, so this is basically the Mothership core. Or the Mothership, rather. As you can see, it cloaks these units. It has the ability to recall, but it recalls units to where it is. It doesn't recall units to nexuses, so that's a difference between the two. It also has stasis, stasis field, stasis warp. Man, I can't remember what it is. It's basically like the stasis ward for oracles in Legacy of the Void, except it kind of just locks people down inside some bricky looking things, some polygon looking stuff. I don't know. Probe's gonna scout down here and find the ninja base. Finds the ninja base. Flash, you're in trouble, man. Here comes Bisu with all of his Dragoons. Throwing down the spider mines. Vultures have the spider mines, as you can see there. They're kind of like Widow mines, except when they explode, they stop functioning. They can't shoot again. So here comes the Arbiter, and it can't detect because these spider mines are actually cloaked. And so you need an observer to check them out. Zealot's going to town on this base, trying to hold it in a position where Flash can't come save his base. That is this positioning out of Bisu, and so far it's working. I mean, the SCVs are in full retreat right now. Dragoon trying to take down that command center in the bottom left here. And Dragoons, I think Dragoons with range outrange Widow Mines. If they have the range upgrade on them. SCVs trying to get out of here, but only a few of them do manage to escape. 20 plus 2 damage on these guys. And it looks like, yeah, some photon cannons being thrown down. Excellent stuff indeed. So it's basically a maxed out Protoss army versus a 169 supply Terran army right now. More and more Nexuses coming up right now. Full macro mode. Full macro mode from Bisu. Look at all of these Dragoons going to town, taking down that engineering bay, trying to deal with these supply depots. Arbiter as well does have a shooting ability, but it's slow. It doesn't hit very hard. These Vultures trying to defend against this Vulture army, but Vultures are pretty good, or Dragoons rather, are pretty good against Vultures. As you can see them starting to die here. The only real defense that Vultures have is their Spider Mine ability, which hits Dragoons pretty hard. But other than that, they kind of suck. Scans available, and no, the Vultures overwhelming the Dragoons just with pure numbers here, using Comsat to see them, even though, again, the Arbiter should have them cloaked. Lot of Zealots dying as well. Finally pushing this back here is Flash. It is 145 to 196 total supply. Bisu, I think Bisu might just have this thing. He has a huge overall food supply on his opponent. He's taken this base away from Flash. Flash is sitting on 1, 2, 3, 4 bases versus effectively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 8 bases out of Bisu. This is snowballing out of control. for Flash right now. What can he do? He has a ton of spider mines, or widow mines. No, it is spider mines. It is spider mine. My brain is like stuck between Legacy of the Void and Brood War right now, and it's really messing with my head. Really messing with my sense of reality. Probes heading on out here too. Just coming to saturate this base, feeling very safe to do so as Flash is in a super defensive position. He's got the tanks, he's got +2 attack and +1 armor on all of this mechanical stuff. I don't see many Goliaths though. I keep wanting to call them Hellbats for some reason. There are Goliaths. Don't see many of those anymore. There were a bunch in the early game, but now apparently there's not much cause for them. And I guess that's fine because Bisu doesn't really have anything in the air except for this Arbiter that Flash isn't very threatened by at all. So tanks are spotting distance here for the tanks, which I always thought these guys looked pretty cool with their beards and their microphones. And I mean, this is 3D animation back in 1997 or 96 or whenever these guys were actually programming this stuff. Another base for Bisu. This is crazy talk. Absolute insanity. So here we go. Pretty big bank right now, pushing on in. There we go. Outranging the spider mines as I expected them to do. The Dragoons just marching through this minefield. This really is just a delaying tactic out of Flash. They're not going to do much, except maybe kill some Zealots that are dumb enough to walk right up to them. Here come the Vultures, though, trying to do what they can. And yes, holding their own, able to kill quite a few things. There it is. In stasis mode are a few of the tanks here. Pushing through is Bisu, but he keeps losing stuff. Couple science vessels in here as well. And there is a Goliath going after this Arbiter. Oh, and they do take it down in tandem. So Flash manages to hold that off. Manages to hold off the attack, forces Bisu into a full retreat, and he's chasing these guys down. He's chasing them down with his Vultures, and look at this. Again, Dragoons do very well in this situation, but if you just outnumber your opponent, no matter what they are, you're going to be okay. Goliath's taking out yet another Arbiter. Losing stuff here is Bisu. Flash, can he turn this thing around? He might be able to turn this around. That is a defensive matrix that's up. The Science Vessel throws those down. Also has Irradiate. Zealots trying to do what they can, but they're getting destroyed by these Vultures, by the tanks that are not in siege mode. Again, doing very well. Flash continuing to push across the map here like he has no concern for the safety of his units. And now he has a fairly effective siege. Is he expanding anywhere? Not really. Just pushing with what he has. The Zealots trying to come on up and focus something down. I guess they're trying to get the tanks. Not really working out super well. Arbiters destroying. Dragoons that are trying to defend are just melting into blue puddles right now. Pushing into the bottom right. Here comes Flash. Lot of siege tanks. Just murdering everything that they can find. And once again, though, Bisu has a ton of bases. He's going to be hard to keep down unless his production facilities are completely wiped out, which is difficult to do with tanks just because they're so slow. Tanks setting up to deal with these photon cannons that look huge. Look how big these cannons look. Can they get the siege tank? They get the siege tank. They get it. Observer here. Single Dragoon trying to do stuff. That's not going to happen whatsoever. Dragoons trying to get right on top of these tanks. They take out one. They take out two. Can they get the third one before they get removed? And yes, they do get it. Dragoons holding on, but these tanks laying waste to the production facilities. As I mentioned earlier for Bisu, he's losing Dragoons as soon as they spawn, as soon as they warp in out of these warp gates. And I know it says warp gate. They don't warp in. They actually just kind of walk out of them. They walk out of these buildings. Look at the continued reinforcements coming from Flash, though. He doesn't need 8 bases. He doesn't need it. He is continuing to push on with what he has. Destroying gateways. It's looking really bad for Bisu right now. Vultures getting destroyed left and right. It looks like Bisu can hold this particular side of things, at least until the tanks come into play. +3 attack and +2 armor on these tanks. Upgrades have been beautiful. Absolutely beautiful out of Flash, but what do we expect from probably the all-time greatest player StarCraft has ever seen? All right, Bisu is in trouble right now. He is at 152 supply versus 198, and again, everything he tries to build is forced to huddle in this corner. Zealots that walk up get immediately evaporated. You can hear them dying. Some counterattacks attempted from Dragoons and Zealots. They did manage to shut down this base that Flash was going for. But siege tanks rocking it on everything else. I don't know what is left here for Bisu. Again, his army is in retreat. He tried to push it out, but look at this macro from Flash. Just absolutely wailing on any counterattack attempts we're seeing out of Bisu. Dragoons falling everywhere. Vultures dying as well. Science vessel moving around so we can detect things as necessary. That is what they do. They can detect. They've got a radiate. They have defensive matrix. All sorts of stuff that you need in order to win against a Protoss opponent. Pylons dead. The army now in this north quadrant where Bisu was hoping to hold out, but it's just, I don't think it's going to work. He's got gateways here, but he's severely outnumbered. It's 94 to 192 total supply. Flash continuing to push on through into the home base. Into the home base of Bisu. There are more Arbiters in production. I don't know what Arbiters are going to do for him. Losing a Templar Archives, losing the Arbiter Tribunal. A Cybernetics core is being warped in, but it should die immediately. Observatory. Robotics support. Not a support bay, but just support. A Forge here as well. Terran has this game well in hand. Absolutely going to town on everything. Arbiters trying to come in and just observing. Like, I don't know what these Arbiters are doing. I guess they're air units. They do not very much damage. As I said earlier, 10 damage. I'm trying to get rid of these tanks. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it for Bisu. He's losing all of his tech structures, which are nice and clustered down here in the bottom right. The top right is also filled with orange. He's losing bases everywhere. I wish I could see a worker count for Bisu, because I have to imagine it is down in the single digits right now, if not at 0. If not at 0. Single Zealot gets caught in a stasis field. I think that was an accident by the Arbiter. I don't know. So you can't be attacked in here, but you can't attack either. So it's a bit of an issue. And yeah, I just don't see... I mean, there's a base at the bottom here that is fairly unmolested for Bisu. He has the base on the bottom left that is unmolested. I forgot about these. So his worker count is not completely gone. I mean, it's not completely out of the realm of expectation here, but I mean, we're maxed out from Flash. SCV's here trying to retreat. You can hear Zealots dying everywhere here at this 3rd or 5th base for Flash, whatever it is. And the orange blob on the minimap is heading towards the bottom left side of the map here. These Zealots have +3 attack. They hit hard. Defensive matrix being tossed down on the Vultures that are cleaning out the Zealots. Thank you, science vessels overhead. Tanks coming for support as well, and that's it. That is it. Bisu has left the game, and Flash is your victor. So well done. Well done indeed to Flash. I thought for sure he was dead. Bisu had like 8 bases to 4, maybe 3 that Flash had at one point. But man, Flash came back. He used the tanks, great positioning. Used the Vultures, basically crushed Bisu's attempt at an attack. Bisu attacking into siege tanks, into Widow Mine, or Spider Mines, which I thought was a good idea, but it didn't really work out in the end. And then once Flash recognized that there was some weakness there, that he'd actually pushed the attack, he launched a counterattack and just laid waste everything Bisu had. Took some time to finish him off, but that game was over, I think, 2 or 3 minutes ago. Anyway, that's it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin with your very first StarCraft Brood War upload. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter and Facebook, both at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.